Hi everybody, welcome to Dulcimerica. My name is Bing Futch. Thank you very much for joining me. I am in Lenoir, North Carolina, and it is a lovely off day. I've been running on a fall tour, going everywhere from Winfield, Kansas, to Cincinnati, Ohio, to Black Mountain, North Carolina. But right now I've got a few days where I'm just kind of chilling out. I'm not really chilling out. I got a lot of work to do. I got a lot of catching up to do, including producing some episodes of Dulcimerica. And I figured while I'm here in this wonderful campground in the mountains of North Carolina that I would do some noodling. It's raining a little bit. It's nice and chill. And I mean chill as in like it's like 62 degrees. And it's been nice because it's been like 95 degrees everywhere else for the past couple of weeks. And I'm sitting here on the deck next to the motorhome just making stuff up, and I figured this would be a great opportunity to share some of the basic concepts of improvisation with you. Now, this is part two of a two-part episode, so if you have not watched the first of these, please go back to last week's episode, and I've laid out some very, very basic things to get you started making things up as you go along. So, the last week's episode dealt mainly with not thinking too much about music theory and just putting your fingers down on the instrument and wandering, strumming or picking, flat picking through creating rhythms and maybe trying to create something on the fly based on how you feel and where you are located in the moment. For me, I'm here in the North Carolina mountains with rain and some nice, wonderful, chill weather. And so I was trying to get a sense of that and make it happen here. And the challenge was to make it sound like it was an actual tune that had been written. And improvisation is basically that. It's just making it up as you go. This week, I would like to shine a light on thinking a little bit about what you're doing with the chords, how they're moving, and how to get the desired result that you're looking for. So we are in DAD tuning, key of D, and I'll mention just a little bit of theory here that when we're working in, for example, the key of D, we've got 7 notes in that D major scale, and we can build a chord off of every single one of those notes. And if you play in the key of D a lot, which I'm sure as a mountain dulcimer player you do, it's very handy to know the locations of all of these naturally occurring chords. So I'll show them to you as a reminder now. Starting with D, we could play an open, which would be a D5, a root 5 chord. We could play 2-0-0, 0-0-2, 2-3-4, 4-3-2, 4-5-7, 7-5-4, and I'll stop there. That's all in the first octave, open through the 7th fret. The numbers I'm calling go from the bass string to the middle string to the melody string and indicate which fret you want to put your finger at. That's built off the first scale degree, D. Coming off of E is E minor that we're looking to build. 1-1-3, 3-1-1, 3-4-5, 5-4-3, then 8-6-5, and 5-6-8. Coming off that second scale degree, those are E minor chords. Third scale degree is F sharp. We're going to play 2-2-4, 4-2-2. We can go, oh, why am I blanking? There it is. 4-5, 6.5, 6.5, 5-4. Those are all F sharp minor built off of the third scale degree. Building off of G now, the 4th note in the D major scale, and we've got 3-1-0 for G major, 0-1-3, 3-3-5, 5-3-3, 5-6-7, 7-6-5. G major built off the 4th scale degree. Built off the 5th note of the scale, that's A. We have A major. We got the 1-2-4 chord. I know, people hate that. 4-2-1. Big stretch on that. Not a lot of people don't like that. 4-4, 6.5. 6.5, 4-4. We also have 6.5, 7, 8, and 8, 7, 6.5. We also have a root 5 chord in 101. A root 5 chord is where we're playing just the root of the chord and just the fifth of the chord, just the lowest note and just the highest note. We're not playing that middle note. That's a 101A chord there. Fifth scale degree. Our sixth scale degree is B, playing B minor here, 2-1-0, 0-1-2. We got 2-3-5, 5-3-2, 5-5-7, 7-5-5. And then finally C sharp, and we only have one example of this chord. When you build off of that seventh note, you're going to get a diminished chord. It's a crazy sounding thing, sounds like this. That's 6.5, 6, 8. It doesn't sound nearly as crazy when you flip it around. But there are two different versions. There's 8, 6, 6.5, and then 6.5, 6, 8 for your C sharp diminished. You're probably not going to use that one a whole bunch, but it's nice to know it's there, and it's nice to know that you can utilize it for things. Now notice that since it doesn't fall into one of those other three chord shape categories, the slant, the L shape, and the extended slant, there's only one example of that you can flip over right there in that area. The rest of them can all be played in those three different chord shapes and some of the other chord shapes that I showed you. So a good way to practice that is to slowly just start working your way through all of these different chords all over the fretboard so that you can use them whenever you're at a certain point someplace here. Some of those chords love to go to the other versions of those chords. Some of them like to hang out together more than others. And the more you play around with them, the more you'll be able to discover that. I don't want you to think about music theory at this point. I want you to listen as you're moving the chords around and just ask yourself, do I like the way that sounds, or could I do a better job putting some of these chords together? I will tell you that when we're in the key of D, the three major chords love to work with each other. That's D, G, and A, built off the first, fourth, and fifth notes of the scale, or your 1-4-5 chord progression. So anytime you move D, G, and A around together, they're always going to sound pretty darn happy to be there. You can do those in full chords like we're playing there, or you can do them in partial chords as well. So if you're going to be doing that 1-4-5 thing, try and throw the occasional minor chord in there just for a bit of additional color. I'll do that next time I go through. So right now I'm operating out of D, the 1 chord. I'm going to walk up to a G major somewhere here. Now I can start mashing this G major chord around a bit. I changed one thing. I moved 5 down to 4. Don't worry about what kind of chord that is. Just know that you are exploring with sound. One of the easiest ways to do this is to start by using bar chords. Think about the bar chord as changing the nature of the chord itself. So open would be a D major bar chord, or a root 5 chord. Same thing. Power chord, root 5 chord, bar chord are all the same. We're playing the lowest and highest notes in that chord. So this open would be your 1 chord. Going to the 3rd fret would be G, because we're playing G on the bass string and on the melody string. That's one way you can tell what you're actually playing with a bar chord is whatever you're playing on the bass or the melody string, pressing down all those strings all the way across. At the 3rd fret would be our 4 chord G. and then the fourth fret would be our 5 chord A. If you concentrate on just doing those three, bounce your thumb around, and of course the full chord for each of those would be for D, you want to come down for 0, 0, 2. There's your full D major chord. From the bar at 3, 5 on the melody string would give you G major, and then the 6.5 on the melody string from the 4th fret will give you 4, 4, 6.5 for A major. But once again, you can mess around and get all kinds of different flavors of that particular chord. So watch me do it here. I'm just going to move from the 1st, the 4th, and the 5th like this. So that gives you an idea of something you can do without having to think about it too much. And then as you get more confident moving around that stuff, you can flip those chords over and do something a little bit differently, or use some different chord shapes as you're moving around. So I would combine some of these alterations of these basic chords and then go back to doing some of the stuff I did in last week's episode, which is splitting, going from your melody, whatever you're playing on the melody string, going back 2 frets on the middle string for some harmonies, or going up 1 fret on the middle string to get some harmonies as well. So I'm going to throw those two things together, and I'm going to go into some minor chords as well and do another improv, just kicking it up a notch a little bit as far as the intensity of our noodling, our North Carolina noodling here. Let me see what we got. So if you start off with just the 1-4-5 chords, maybe throw in your B minor, which would be your 6, and just mess around with that a little bit every single day. Over time, you'll discover that you now are starting to memorize the locations of those chords, and you can just pull them into being whenever you really, really want to. And that's fabulous, because that means you are now familiar with where everything is on the fretboard, and you can call them into being at will, as opposed to having to sort of struggle with it. As you build up that ability to move all over the fretboard, you'll become a lot more comfortable playing the instrument, and you'll be able to do a lot more with it. But it all starts with noodling. No pressure, just relax and make some beautiful music in the moment. I hope this has been helpful. I hope this has been calming and soothing, and I hope you'll do it a little bit every single day. If you enjoy this stuff, I got a lot more where that came from through my Patreon site. You can join me at patreon.com/bingfutch. For just $5 a month, you get everything that I've created. That's all of my books, CDs, my tablature, video, and every single week I produce new content just like this. So if you're interested, go to patreon.com/bingfutch. Check out some of all those free downloads available in the open house section and featured tags area, and then please do consider becoming a patron, like all of those people who support me every single month and make it possible for me to sit on the deck in 62-degree temperatures and shorts and noodle, and hopefully show you how to noodle too. Thank you, everybody. We'll see you next week. I'll be back home in Orlando with some more studio instruction for you. Until then, everybody, play a little bit every day and enjoy. We'll see you soon.